All right. Hello and welcome, everybody. This is again starting streams from Japan. It's quite late at night, so that's going to also limit how much time we have. Today we'll be kind of looking at internationalization in MeteorJS, playing with probably Universe, INTL, also playing with React, INTL, kind of looking at some of the tips and tricks that I can do. I'll be copying a bit from my existing application. So it's going to be a bit of kind of showcasing how to do certain things. And then another big thing is going to be me trying a few things, experiment or things that I would not normally try out in my own app. So and I'm going to try it in a testing app to see if I can implement it. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see. Let me actually, I don't need my headphones. Apologies also for my voice. Looks like there has been some, I don't know if we would call it a sickness or something going on. So I might cough a little bit and all that stuff. So before we get really started, hello everybody again. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat on YouTube or Twitch. Sorry, I'm not sure if I can receive if I see anything from X, but you can try as well to comment. Where are you guys watching from? What's the local time? I'm currently tracking times for, of course, my local time, Prague, Jakarta, and New York. So yeah, let me know where you guys watching from, and as I get things set up over here on my side, that's still, as always, and I just actually got a, what should I call it, a report that requires my attention, so I'll have to kind of balance these things a little bit. So apologies on that. Also, with that starting, what currently, guys, what are your questions, or what would you like to learn about internationalization and localization? So we will, so I can see what I can cover. So let me get this over here, and of course I need to look into that. Also, guys, have you watched was it last week or 2 weeks back, where I had an episode on the Meteor dispatches about internationalization, localization? So let me know if you watched that or not, so I know if I should continue or if I should kind of make the going back. So that takes care of Slack, and of course we have to do let's see, also I must not forget over here as well. So that's taken care of, and now we can actually get into it. Apologies, I don't have 2 or so screens, so it will be, I'll have to kind of switch between different, should I say it, different virtual screens, which I have on my Pop OS. So since I'm not seeing anybody commenting, I guess then I'll have to trace back a little bit with a presentation kind of explaining the basics. So also, guys, let me know if there's like any issue with the sound or anything. My microphone's also not directly before me, so let me just let me know if anything like that is an issue before we really get into it. So and let's start the let's go going with the presentation. And let me make it like this so we can see that. So so this is kind of covering back what I've already covered in the dispatches episode, just to kind of get us quickly oriented. We look what internationalization, localization is. It's sometimes used interchangeably and very confusing. We'll look into kind of the basics, and then towards the end, I'll kind of cover what we'll be getting into. So internationalization is very much about translating your website and doing other things. And localization is making sure that it's specific needs of the target, so that the dates are in the correct order, that of course design has takes into account the different cultural sensitivities and so on. And regionalization is also more on the linguistic side. So again, it's used very much INTN, LTN, interchangeably. Very confusing. People sometimes have different impression, but what both of them really mean is getting your website so it's ready to accept other languages, having those languages very translated and easily switchable, and that other elements on your website like dates, numbers, and other language related stuff are proper for the given locale. So, and I have this actually switch based on those definitions. But one thing that you have in JavaScript is INTL API, which takes care of proper formatting of numbers, day and time, list. So, for example, I have a list of names. So it's Jan, comma, Alim, comma, Red, and then like another name, or maybe there is an API that you can just put in like an array of strings into it, and it will do the proper formatting in that language. Also, there's some pluralization and other segmenters. It's all modern browsers have it, and since Node 14. So Meteor 1, which is Node 12, does not have this. Meteor 2 from I think certain specific, I don't remember which one has Node 14 has all of that. So I really want to get on Meteor 3 as soon as possible, or latest Meteor 2. Another things that you need to take into address are the actual links of your website, addresses, designs, and text. For example, if you're preparing for right to left languages like Hebrew, Arabic, and similar ones. So I already mentioned the colors, payments. That's usually what the pay gate is for, but so that's kind of want to select ones which has kind of the broadest international reach, so you don't have to integrate additional payments, pay gates, and that's just insane. specific local laws related to your business, and on, and things that we can go on. So when it comes to translating text, I have here, actually these are 2 samples. I have also still the mistakes here, but we're gonna cover them in more details with a React application. And then of course on the right is solid. There are 2 approaches. One that is you put in like an ID, as we see here. Let me probably move my, actually, yeah, it's actually right above my face here, Windows. So you have the ID, and then you define beneath that, for example, like a default message, but usually those are defined in their own files. Or you can have on the right, you just put in message and maybe with some inputs, and then you have usually like a build step or something that extracts all those messages, puts them into translation files, maybe assigns IDs to them, and kind of puts them in for translation. I prefer the ID method because you are much more in charge. It also means that you kind of reduce the duplicates, because if, for example, if you have like one on the right, if I had at the end, I had let's say a white space there, then that would be another string, and you could have false duplicates there, and I just find IDs better. Plus, it also makes sure that developers kind of go into reusability as well. I prefer to kind of use message syntax, which is an ICU. Message syntax is kind of the first thing. It's a standard. It's supported in many programming languages. And if you have like somebody who's translating websites or applications, it's a good chance that they might know it. So you have to teach them all those things. So, of course, probably best if you kind of starting this project is to look on best practices of other websites. Here is for MDN, but you can usually find for others as well. Today, I'll be looking at Universe INTN and kind of seeing what we can do with it, especially outside of the Blaze context, which it's kind of have been used for. My issue with this and other Meteor packages that they just kind of use their own, say, syntax for the translations, which I don't find good. So we could use, the ICU message syntax, that would be great. There's tap intn. You can see I very much dislike, kind of these inputs. The beauty of, if we go kind of back here, as you can see here in the ICU message syntax, you can also kind of format things like dates, numbers, plurals, and so on. And if we kind of come back in here, for example, tab, you're kind of just putting just thing, and as you can see, you kind of have to have 2 plurals, which is also, this actually is a wrong approach to translations, because then you have to do 2 things. First of all, we have to determine when to use the plural or not. There are some languages also which don't use plurals. I'll show you in a second how it's done in the message syntax. Because, and there are also different languages can have different pluralization rules. So, for example, Japanese, when you say, there is 18 students in Japanese, or let's just say 18 Japanese or 10 Japanese, Ju Nihonjin, it has some additional specific how it defines about, at the end, the people, or Japanese or students. If I under translation directly, it would be 10 student, 10 Japanese, or that's actually plural, but yeah, it would be 10 student. Japanese does not have the plural there, as And then, for example, in Czech, it depends if it's few, many, and a few other cases. So jeden student, dva studenti, tři studenti, čtyři studenti, pět studentů. This is studentů. So again, few, many, and other languages have much more. So these simple thing, it kind of shows that it's been built more with developers than people who actually do the translations and everything, or it's just taking a few languages similar to English into account. So that's my very common problem with these, not just these packages, but like in general. And I think Austria might suffer from the same issue, but we can check later on. So as I mentioned already, I will be looking into the universe package also because I've received a request to include it in or kind of put it into Meteor community packages. So we'll have to talk with Jan and see if we want to do that. So this will be kind of my look at it as well. Also because I am looking potentially for a more Meteor-centric approach on this. Then we have kind of format.js, which is a set of libraries like Vue.intl, React.intl, which uses the ICU message syntax. So that will be one thing I kind of want to try. There's some tips and tricks. I'll show you guys how to actually use it on server, because as you can see, if you have React.intl, how the heck do I use that on server? So I'll go over that. And then I kind of want to try if we can maybe optimize a bit of the loading for specific parts, which might be kind of good, interesting strategy for very big applications with a lot of text. And then there is INTN or INT next, which is something we might try if we have time. So it says it supports Meteor. It's you can kind of plug it into Locais, use something different there, and so on. So that will be something I can probably bonus, or if we manage everything in time. So that's all, guys. Let me know in the chat if you have any questions as we go through it. Since I don't have two monitors, everything, I will have to kind of go purely back and forward between the screen and the comments, because sadly I cannot see everything at the same time. All right, so let's get this over here and let's see what we can do here for screen sharing. This sounds going to be quite interesting. Okay, so let us get started, and let's do Meteor create -- React, and we want to have intn testing. So we'll create this quickly, then we'll switch and get going. So first of all, I will be, let's see how we're going to do this. Let's start with React INTL. So we'll do Meteor. Oops, actually need to cd into that. Meteor npmi -- save React INTL. Let's put that in. Let's quickly look up on dependencies we can upgrade, and we have React 19. So let's jump straight into that to make sure that we have the latest version. So we have that included. We might later look into, let's see, React router to try different routes with different languages, but actually no, we will not be needing that. We'll just use quick select and state and go for that. So let's, whoops. Come on, new window. Well, apparently not. So let me find our projects here. If my computer does not crashes, let's stick with it. So I'll have to probably open my other apps. So hopefully, let's pray that my computer can manage all these things I have here. And let's get started. So we have the app here, and what we'll need is to wrap this into, or do we, let's see, INTL provider, or actually no, we'll do what I do, or actually one more thing that I can do here, Meteor add TypeScript and PMI save dev. Script, forgot about that. Just to be, oh, it's probably already in there, so nothing to worry about. It's just because I want to use that. So what I like to do is React. I like to do a language container where I set up all the necessary stuff to, like, you know, INTL provider, where we put the locals. We'll have to put in something to put in the messages. And I'm gonna put in the children. So let's just go with local en, or actually, yeah, let's just go with that, and just an empty object for right now. It's actually something that we'll be looking at in just a moment. Let's make this before Kelly comes in. React dot, what is it? React Note, that's the one I'm looking for. So back to our app. We'll do not INTL provider. We want to do language container to wrap our application in. And let's actually also do start right here. As I kind of showed you, there is the formatted message. where we put in ID. Let's just do very simple. Welcome. We'll put a default message here. Welcome to Meteor. In our language container, we shall put welcome to Meteor like this. And just to make sure it gets from proper place, we'll just put here the default. And yeah, let's see if we can start this up and start catching any issues that come our way. Oh, of course, because WebStorm still doesn't know to do the imports if I'm not careful. So let's take a look here. Okay, so it's still coming from the default, and that's primarily because I probably don't remember how to put in the messages. So we'll start looking at, go back to the documentation to check out that we do have correct setup. So we have the local. I kind of look into how to extract all of that stuff. And let's see what else. Okay, so I don't remember exactly, so this is actually a good time to open up Meteor Universe here and look into as what was find. Wait, want some reason. So a lot of stuff here, but there it is, language container. So of course there's a lot of options that you can do to determine. Probably if I were to redesign this right now, or kind of start from scratch, I would be looking at probably more detailed language selector and everything, because for example Portuguese between Portugal and Brazil requires 2 different translations. In most other languages that's not the case, so that's something to be careful of. Of course, then the line container actually imports specific language, a lot of other stuff here, and then in the INTL provider, the local and messages have some formats, default local. So why are we not? So if we look at the messages, we have record, and let's see. Yeah, so this should be correct unless I'm missing something big. And so messages. Also, React 19 also supports the option to kind of define messages and extract them and whatnot, which not too fond of. Let's go actually to components here and look in detail on the INTL provider. Local. I would say this is kind of a bit of a failure of documentation, because one of the, if not the main thing, is that you actually provide the messages into the provider. So yes, you needed to access the other components, but not showing how, or having a clear example how to do that in the documentation. That's honestly, I'm quite disappointed here. So local, and we want to look at, they don't even have it properly documented. It's like messages and they give us the definition. And then they just go on. Wait, no, actually it's there, messages. Well, default local and default formats are fallbacks or during development and represents the app's default. Notice that there is no default messages. That's because MeteorJS provides a default message. Yes, but again, does not. It does not open it. All apps using React Native must use INTL provider or raw INTL provider component. Then it does not show why it's not happening properly on our side. So let's just do here. Welcome, and that will be that. Let's see, maybe if this refreshes, if that's going to fix it. Let's move on here. Let's actually, okay, let's look at the error message. So there is none. Let's try refresh again, because it should. Welcome to Meteor default. Oh, and I've been wasting time just because I made a mistake in the ID. Though again, that should normally it will put you an error, but maybe because it uses default message, it won't. So let's just. So things are actually working as intended, most likely. If we look back here, yes, now you see that's gone. And let's do this for the other places as well. We have here the click me. And here we can actually start putting in the specific syntax. In this case, I define it that the counter is a number, so it should format it as a number. So let's get going. Formatted message ID. Click me, and we don't have to worry about anything else. And then what I want here, next here we have this one over here. Formatted message ID is pressed. And here we do put in an object with values. The value in this case is counter. So that's kind of, we can stick it like that. And of course, nothing has changed here if it's properly implemented. You know, things will probably not change until we get like to 3000. So let's do the initial state there like that. And now you can see, if I zoom in, that the 3000, it has the comma here, which is very common, which is common for the English speaking, to kind of make it easier to read. So even if you just implement in your website, you know, numbers and all those other things managing, it's just going to make your website much that much interesting. Yes, whoops, let's remove this. Okay, still no comments, guys. Yeah. So again, guys, don't be afraid to use the comments and chat. Sadly, those I know I can definitely see them through YouTube and Twitch versions of the stream. Not sure if on X that will be something. Can probably open up and see if you have any like comments on the stream. So let me have that here open, and I can come back to that later. So yeah. So we have that sorted. And apologies, I can to move my things a little bit around to be nice. We won't be needing this for a moment. So we have these ready. Let's move the other way. And last thing that we need to translate is right over here. Learn Meteor. I'll just have it like that. Back to our container over here. Learn Meteor. And of course, you must not forget is loading. As well. And this is where my experiments will start. So going, actually, let me guys, it's good enough for me, but I'm sure there will be always someone who wants this to be a bit bigger. So 150 it is. So we have all the IDs in and everything else as well. So if we want a different language, let's do Czech. Let's put it in here. Yeah, it's like I'm like thinking about it. So I'm like, oh my god, my Czech is so bad. I cannot translate it the way I want it because I'm, for example, what is the translation for button in Czech? And of course, you have the button on your shirt, but that's not the one that I want to use. And there's also mnie, which I don't want to get into because I always mess this up. So now then we'll change the local here for Czech. Just gonna to show you. And yeah, you can see I changed the locale and immediately there is no comma in the 3000, just empty space as it's done in Czech, and you can see it's immediately in Czech. Of course, the trick then is that you have like detection on your website, especially if it's a login user, detecting based on the usually in the browser language and others. With that though, you should always include the option to change it, because I remember it's like years ago, but when these sites started having this, I was like in Turkey. I was like still young, on vacation, and tried to like open a website, and it was translated in Turkish, and I could not find where to switch the language, so I could not use the website because it took. Okay, the browser is in Turkish, so let's give me Turkish. So if I kind of go back here to Meteor Universe, we have an entire big function here, and even this could be. And there are some other things here as well. So you start the navigator languages, and it can have multiple languages as well. So let's actually look that up in our browser here. So navigator dot languages, and you can see it returns. Well, it probably can't. Well, I can make it bigger. So it returns to me an array. It starts with English, American, English, Czech, and Japanese. If I just Google language, it will just put me the first one. So that's kind of the first thing you need to, which is also great benefit. And it's actually probably something that I should include in my determination. If it doesn't find the first language, which go to the second one, and until you find one that's most compatible, which is, yeah, that's something that I should probably do here. I do also believe the language is pretty modern, so that's why I have kind of the fallback there. And that also means I also have to have a list of all the, also there's a big difference between say local and language. Language is just in these terms like AN, CS, JA. Or no, sorry, no, that's a language, and local is where it has PT dash PT or some other things, or in Czech it would be CS dash CZ, with the part being the language and the second being the locale, so which is based on country or some other derivation. So once you actually start researching this you will fully kind of understand that. And yeah, that's also what eventually my recommendation, if you want to get into this, just use the full locale for your translation. It will save you some of the troubles I have right now with, for example, here Portuguese down the line. Also potentially for detection, that kind of goes both ways. But for the for example, in crowding, once you kind of select the selection, it will give you the exact, for locales, again, because of Portuguese and few other languages who have these things, or even English, American English, British English, Australian English, and so on. So if you want to be even more accommodating, then you do all these adjustments and translations. So we have that going. We can probably do a bit of probably use the function here as well. And we know that we do have 2 languages. So do here supported languages. So, and we'll do en and cs. And these last 2 are like super old, just in case. So now then, how do we go about fixing this? Thinking include, and I will have to look up one quick function. I think if we can probably use find, but I'm not sure if that's exactly what I want. Yes, so that's one to use. I'm just thinking maybe if there is not something similar, but let's do let's see, or one more thing to consider. What if it finds more than, it returns just the first one? The first element in the provided array that satisfies the provided testing function. So what we want here for this would be navigator.languages, which is an array. Then we want find, and we'll get lang, and we want to check if it's in our array of supported languages, or local lang. That's so how we are going to do this. Languages dot include lang, or it will be English. So then we use that const local here. What can I call this function? Put that in here. The other part is, we can put this into a much, could say, bigger object where we can, so that we could then have like locales. Then you have like English, Czech. That is, you would do that if you have, so that in the, if we have it like that, then we could then go, easily here locales and the locale to make it more automatic. But you would do that only if you have like, don't really care if you load everything to the client. And this is actually something that we want to avoid here, because I want to also test some additional loading in case, which is where I'm getting in my app, if we want to split things up and only load specific locales or specific languages for specific parts. So instead, const messages, or let messages, we'll do this here. And now we'll do if locale is n, messages equals n. Right now, just going super simple. Of course, this would be much more complex. Later on, we'll probably complicate it a little bit. So let's take a look on our automatic detection if it works. Oh no, we have an error. INTN is not defined in language container online. 26. Oh, that's just me forgetting to remove this, and looking actually on this, we can probably just simplify it like this. Of course, then you would be returning the that function will be much more advanced in your application. So see, we are now back to English as was there defined. Now, to kind of finish off, of course, we want to have some sort of an option to change language. So let's see, welcome. I'll have a label, HTML4, lang select language. We'll have select ID, lang select, and then we have option value. And now with common lists like these, first of all, let's put this into our languages. Select language. And we want to have also here on change that look into that a bit later, but there is an NTL function that can easily translate all these parts, and that's display name. And here you will put, for example, and this is actually, you will have, this is a React component built on top of the existing INTL. So you will have INTL display name or something like that in the JavaScript itself. When you can put it, so you have the calendar, language, currency, and a few other things. So we want language, and the value here is n. And we can do the same thing here for yes. So you can see here we have the English and Czech, and I don't have we have to create the translation for this. You have countries, and you can probably also do in US, I think. Which you can see here as now is American English. So you can very easily, very quickly get a lot of these things with potentially translated already without having to worry. And there is even an option that let's see. Let me check here. Not sure about all these options. It's been a while since I really gotten into that. But there should be, yes, like dialect and standards. But there should be an option to also display them, I believe, in their native version. But I'm not 100% sure on that. But if you look under the API documentation on MD and other, it will show you. Let's just actually quickly look on why we built this. If I can get the chance, great, I can. So okay, let us start expanding here. First of all, we want to provide some default value, and we can use the hook use intl to get the locale. Under select, and let me see, I haven't done default value. Locale is right here. And next thing, what we want is to have actually a function that's going to change this. Let me check if we have reactive variable installed here. Oh, we don't have reactive variable. Yikes. Meteor at reactive var. That will give us what I want. And what I want to do now, this might probably be best if we put it into kind of outside. You can also use, let's see, what else can you use here? Probably use context or something else, but right now, let's call it this locale, and that's going to be from Meteor reactive var, and will be that, and I will be exporting constant called locale, which will be new reactive variable. We go back to language container. We should probably put this right here. And instead of getting the local here, oh, I completely forgot. I don't know now on top of my head how it's going to write, but let's see. So instead of this, we'll want to import here. Import local from local. We can completely get rid of this. Local is imported. And in our app, might probably bite me that I'm going outside of this dot set. Oh no, it won't bite me, but it will be. I know now what. Event dot target dot value. So this will be set, but to get the local here, let's do the same thing as local. I don't think that's how. Of the reactive variable. It's been a while since I used this. Okay, type sound going to help me here. So let's quickly jump to our lovely documentation. Reactive var. Yeah, we have to have use get and set, don't we? So that's a bit of language containers .get, and we probably want to have this in the use tracker, so it can then detect changes to that. Just going to quickly run here to see if we can do that. Bit of this. Instead of use find, we'll use tracker, and I'm now spitballing, honestly. I hope this is going to work. A bit of an experiment. Okay, let's fix the error. Could not find required INTL object. Needs to exist in the compound registry. That's an INTL provider. In app. What did I do wrong here? Oh, yes, because I'm using this before. So we should probably create here a new language select. Let's do it properly. Word const language select, and can import there from the app this thing. And okay, so we have that here, but again with wrong import. And finally, we put in the hook over here. Let's remove these things and return this to its proper place. Now we add the not container language select. For some stupid reason, Storm is not doing the imports properly. Every freaking time I still have this issue years later on, even if I change the settings, no matter what I do, it ignores them. Okay, so we have that sorted out. Let's see if all these changes we did will have an actual impact. So the select languages here, check. Yes, it works. Perfect. Yay for the tracker. Let me jump here. And we have some comments. I see Lori in the chat. Hi, Lori. And we have Kelly. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your travels. Yes, I am doing well despite my sickness here, which is probably also because of the ACs and because it's getting cold outside. Or not, just my neck. My throat is hurting. Things are doing great, though I have a lot of stuff, and apologies to everybody. I know I'm behind on my emails, but sadly I had or still have an issue that I need to resolve with bureaucracy in Czechia, and that one is together with me trying to kind of ensure that my company survives next year as well and can move here to Japan. That one is like just sucking all of my energy, and honestly, like hour or two before this stream, I was like, I'm not sure if I even want to do this. I just want to go to sleep. Or more precisely, in about 40 or so minutes, I am going to go to visible. There is this little panel. I'm going to go to it and set it up so it prepares a hot bath for me, which I'm going to take and enjoy immediately after the stream is over. It has just very amazing, but I'll talk more about that probably later on. So let's go into our application and start doing the there's one experiment that I want to run right now. Then I'm gonna show you how to get INTL rec INTL on the server, and then we jump into the universe INTL and see what we can do there. So actually, this experiment has two parts. First of all, I want to see if I can. Actually, no. Let's. One thing I want also is to try to load stuff from JSON, but I don't think I have time for that. So what I want to do is, if you notice right now, we have all these translations in one big object. And of course, as you can imagine, as your application grows, so this object is going to go, it's going to be thousands of lines potentially, sometimes tens of thousands. And what I want to see is if I can, how well can I separate the providers here and provide them with special, could say, messages. So you only then the end results ultimately of this would be that you can provide, you can kind of separate your application into modules, and then you will have, for each of module, have like this INTL provider, which will have its own messages. So you only load the messages that you need. If that makes sense. And thinking, how can we best experiment with this? Because I might probably just do this. So first of all, let's make the separations. Actually, let's do that as well. So const in info, which will, let's try that over there. So that will be these two strings. And let's do this here as well. Const yes, info. We'll just pretend we are loading them per request. So then we will have another input. Let's just call it module, which will be info or undefined. Hopefully I will not get hit for a reserved name. And here we'll have if module equals info. Again, going very oversimplified here. Then we'll have messages equal and info. And here it's going to be in yes info. Again, oversimplified. Probably can get a smarter solution for this selection. I would be thinking I would have, a language container at the top for the common stuff that repeats everywhere. And then I would have language containers below, or I would have like a specific language for the different modules. Now the thing is, can we actually combine these? That will be the, or if it will kind of overwrite each other. And if we go to let's see, for info, do a language container, we do module info. And ta-da, and let's see how the error hates me, or how things hate me or not. Okay. And to test this, that one worked. Let's do here. Let's do this like this. Let's add in here in the info. Let's go back here to, for example, hello, and do a formatted message, which is just going to be info. And since it's outside of that, it theoretically should not have it. Yes, so it only, and now you can see it. I have an error here that it's using the ID as a fallback. And now I actually want to switch this up. So I want this to be in the common. And I am going to go and instead of here, I'll do that in the info to check that I am receiving. I still can get the common or like from the top in there as well. And I can't. So so this, you can see it's missing because what is happening here, it's a complete override then. It's just, only for that context, and I don't inherit. And this is where the two language containers come in. So language module container. Let's do that. Let's build it up. Export language module container. We'll have the module here. Let's start moving things over. So of course, we'll have the info. We don't care about really. Can get a little bit started ahead over here. Now we can actually simplify this back to its original. Okay, good. And towards the end here, of course, we need local. Of course, we need the children. Let's This module right now will be required. So we have the module, we have children, and I don't think I need this anymore. Now for locale, that's where the fun begins. What I want to do here is use intl because we are in the content, and I want to get locale and I want to get messages. Why do I want to get, say, just since we know what we are getting, let's simplify this. Why do I want to get messages here? Let's do module messages just to make sure that it's correct. So I want to get all the messages. And I want to do it like that here. Messages. I want to combine them. So that way, I have both of those available. Moment of truth. Yes, that worked. So the trick here is that you need to kind of redefine again all those things that you did in the topmost provider and push that down, and then you need to combine the messages, but which is a bit of a waste potentially. We'll have to kind of see how much that is kind of size wise. But big thing for this is for me for the universe, because I have, let's actually switch to kind of give you an example how more advanced it look. If I can find my packages, I have like an intl package. You can open here the English folder, and you can see I have a lot of translations for different modules. And as you can imagine, with this big of an application, right now I have it separate for convenience, but also kind of in hopes that in the near future I can actually start loading these individually in the same manner as I showed you here with module level loaders for the different languages, so that we can reduce how much is loaded on the client side. So that's a bit because it's done through dynamic imports, the entire thing. So I can also dynamically import the language, and hopefully in the future it will also be based on the module as well. Maybe in the beginning I'll just like for each module I'll prepare its own intl provider, so it's much more, but before I start doing any big changes or like trying to simplify that. So now I promised you that I want to showcase how to do with React intl, because you can see components, that's not something that's going to be easy kind of to get on server. It took me a little bit figuring out, but eventually, as you can see, I have here a large thing, and in here actually I am on the server, I am like, here importing because it's server. If I just import it, then it's fine. I don't have to really won't do that much, even though actually this is also good. Also more of a dynamic thing as well. So it's, again, something that probably to review. So I am actually importing the structure. So that's also why this probably will go to JSON in the future to make it easier to import, because then there's less evaluation. And then there is this create intl where I add local and all the other thing. You can see I'm combining here the messages. Then there's a cache for that, and that also comes from React intl. They have the create intl, and then once I have this object with all the messages created, let's see, do I have a sample? I then have, get intl by local, which initializes the server intl, which is all these messages. Again, so only initializing when I actually need it. And then it returns for the specific language. So let's find a usage that would most likely be around emails. So I'll get that. I have actually here a function. It's probably a bit not really useful. Oh no, actually, it actually checks, and then it actually checks, based on what the user has for language, and then I can just do, and you can do this also on the client if you use the hook, use intl. There is this dot format message, and then it's the format ID, default message, and the inputs, and that's how you use it on server. Not necessarily the most straightforward of approaches, but it's doable. Now then, we want to probably take a look at, of course, let's do it that way. Oh, okay. On Universe INTN, recently got version 3 to support Meteor 3. Also has YAML format and much more. Let's see. Let's go to GitHub for that. And in the meantime, over here, we want to do the int next here as well. Take a look on it, and I'm trying to figure out exactly, I think, let's click here on getting started. The issue with this, let's zoom in. Okay, let's do comparison to others. It has a lot of stuff. That's why it's like loaded. That's very nice. What I need to look at, and this, so definitely good on server. And the big thing here, there is like, connection between all of this. I don't think we'll have a time for this. So maybe for me to really start learning this and exploring this. So that won't be probably for another episode to look more into it. I want to really, let's quickly check the API. So we have the init. we have the use, and it has some specific or the additional extensions. So it looks like really advanced. Of course, there's the translate, which is probably both accessible on the server, on the client. This might be like a general benefit, similar to benefit and detriment. Again, as I showed with React INTL, with the providers, I can put individual providers around modules and only load what I need. Think there definitely will be probably something similar in I18 next. But then big thing is it also has kind of built in very, very nicely the change language, which is not which you saw I had to really build specifically for React INTL. So that's a bit of advantage here. Change language asynchronously with progress. And it might also have already some other functions. So that's I would say where React INTL is lacking in this. And it has namespaces. So yeah, it has like it can check that it has loaded the specific namespace, and here we have load namespace if you go into specific route. So int next looks good. It has TypeScript. I want to quickly check here. Not supported frameworks really. Actually, let us look for Meteor very quickly. There's a package. What? Oh no, it's has moved most likely, but npm is forever, or is it? There is one React INT next for React. Let's take a quick look how to do trends, int and key. And then the input. So very much, or maybe not. This looks like their approach is for this would be similar. That it has something that collects it, and then let's actually go to atmosphere and see if we have it over here. Oh my god, so it's ancient. This predates the yes, so this predates Meteor 1 pretty much. 2014, not updated. Well, guys, there is an opportunity for you to build a package. This probably would be specifically for Blaze. To connect to this, and I will have to look more into the one for React. And so either it's not sure if it's extension or stuff. So translation function. Let's see. I want to see how they do the translations very quickly. So there's namespaces, fallback keys. Let's see, interpolation. Dynamic values into your translations. Okay. How? So they're using something of their own. This is the thing that really grinds my gears. And it does have some stuff here that's quite advanced. But for me, unless it uses, okay, so it uses the INTL API for a lot of these. Let's see here how they handle pluralization. We haven't really gotten that much into it, but again, we can do part 2. Let me know in the comments if you would like a part 2 to go into specific things, or let me know if you want me to cover something. So here we have, so there's the formatting. Okay. There's daytime, relative time. This one is like, I would say, a really powerful feature of the INTL API that you can have, like, 3 days ago, 3 quarters ago, and so on. Of course, the list we've covered, and let's look at the plurals, because that one can. Okay. Oh, why? So they do it that each of the plural is its own key. And this really is that is where I'm just yeah. This is where it really. Okay, it knows how, but that's not. This is where I am kind of get turned off from this approach, because I don't really want to, I don't want to migrate to this because I'm already using the ICU standard. And in there, if we go to, let's see, the INTL message format here. Or is it over here? Yes, message. It's under guides. Concept. I always forget the message syntax. So the plural format over here, I really love much more. Because what you can also do here in this ICU message, let me zoom in a bit more. Can do you have, and you can do it's gonna be extend this. Oh, come on, guys, this is a bad UI. Why is this text area so small and cannot be resized? Nonsense. So you have here, you can have like a sentence, and you can have, as a result, you can have, of course, 0, no items, 1, that, number, other. I'm not sure why it doesn't show here, but you can, kind of compose. That means you can have also multiple plurals in one place, so you don't have to have like multiple keys, which is also easier than for the translators, that they don't have to repeat, like, for example, one sentence 4 times. because you can do this composition, which that's why I prefer the ICU message. Okay, no new comments here. So that's why, if you then start like doing here, with the keys and I think here they actually key one interval and they're kind of building it in, but okay, so here it's kind of more closer to that, but honestly it's not as much readable, and I'm not happy. I really love that they have namespaces and all that, but the syntax they use, just not going to happen, guys. I just not even for new projects, because again, syntax, the ICU I think is much better than any of what I've seen here for pluralization. Some of the other things as well. Good things though is that they have also here best practices section, so something to really also look into. And I might probably look if they have like a plugin for the ICU. Actually look if they have it or not. They have INX ICU. To use ICU format with items based on Yahoo message, because Yahoo I think may have kind of have the origin for this. So that I might give it then a try with this to see. But let's see, how old is this today? Last year, so it might be relatively up to date. Yes. Sweet. So we can do that. All right. So there is hope. But yeah, that will be probably for another episode. Let's look at the Meteor Universe INTN from Vasco. There's a lot of stuff. Might have it's actually, this one is tad closer to the ICU. Let's look if they actually mention it. No, so I'm pretty sure it actually was not used. So, and there is types, but let's go with just the basics. Or actually, no, since we have the types, why not have the types there as well? Might save me potentially some troubles. And let's put that in, and while we wait, I'm running out of time, guys. So the big thing, we can zoom in, is it's downloading the information from the server. That's something that really is not handled as well with React INTL, or pretty much you have to kind of do it yourself. So there's a lot of extra stuff that you need to build in. We saw with INT Next that they have that, let's say, at least partially, or maybe it's much more easier to handle, that they have the modules and kind of merges all together. So a lot of extra stuff we have to do it, we don't have to do it there. But here, Meteor Universe INTN has the option relate to how manage the downloads of all these things, which is really neat. This is, you can see, probably this is where I kind of took in the initial getLang function and you can add it by method, the translation. Which is a bit cumbersome, but you can also have JSON and YAML function as well. Though the syntax is what's kind of not really sure how to respond to that. Another big, so you can see YAML, JSON. Oh, we can also now do. Oh, that's the new thing. That's why I still have all those loading options. That I'll have to change that, because now I can simplify things with string literal or in imports. So it does have namespaces and some of the other stuff. So pluralization is here. Not too fond of that, but I am not entirely sure this is how it's going to work properly. Let's zero. This may be some sort of string. To that, you need to use pipe separator in your localhost, like this example below. You just add a comment you want to get. What about few, many? That's okay. I think I will have to double check that. We can probably try that if that it just goes like 0, 1, 2, on, which is not the. Let's see. Yeah. Oh no. Oh no, because here you have to kind of put in your own function. Not fond of that, but yeah, that's sadly why I was not really looking into it. And here we have integration with React. That's kind of what I wanted to get into. So you do kind of, again, a local provider with the a lot of hooks. So we have a local context. Let's get this started. Call it locale provider. Ta-da! It has a lot of extra stuff here. Okay, so it does. So this is without. Where is it? Do we have any? No. Yeah. So there is a React here. That's the local. Okay, there is a function, which it should be functional component as well. That's an important detail for right now. Okay, looks like outside started raining. So we have the local provider implemented, and grid above use translator hook can be used in the following way. So we can then and other options for React integration. And here we have something with reactive var and everything. The advantage of this approach is creating only one listener instead of creating listener on every local changes. We have simple schema. When I've used this something similar in the past, let's see. How do we test this? First of all, I'm going to create a new, let's just call it Vasco, as they have been taking care of this. Export const Vasco, which is going to be a functional component. Like this. With heading 2. And what I need here from the local provider is, let's see. How to best, we'll have the local provider, and now I need to go to the documentation to double check. Okay, so use translator. Okay, yes, so that's very similar to React INTL. So for Vasco over here, we'll have to use the constant d equals use translator. And then we can do here the Vasco dot heading. If we want to put it into our app, they have one div over here. Let's do the, need to add the local provider here at the top. Local provider course, it's wrong. Import again. That'll be import sco. If these things know how to write imports. And now, question of of how do we do the definitions on all of these other things. So how do we set translations? So as translations, let's go up here and let's see. Instead of setting translations directly through add translations, you can store them in YAML or JSON files named intn YAML or JSON accordingly. Translations files should be imported on the client side. Okay. That's a bit unexpected. So that's is that method too? So dynamic imports, loading all your local files on client side might unnecessarily increase the bundle size, yes, of the client application. Instead, you can use dynamic imports to load additional locales only when necessary. There are two ways of doing so. Using imports, load locales on the server side, either import files statically or use translations if loading locales from other sources, for example, database. That's an interesting concept. Okay. On the client call, set locale, which will load the respective locale via GET request to the configured host URL. Okay, so we can import them on a server. Statically. And this is what I want to really try, because that's not something you can do easily with React INTL. What I want to do now and then on the server would be, let's do cs.intn.json. We'll do the same here. Let's double check this. intn. We just do import on the server. It kind of feels like cheating, honestly. On the server like this, just importing like this is fine, but I am a bit. But on the server, it doesn't matter to. On the client call, set locale, which will load the respective local via get request. If we put it incorrectly, we need to configure host URL. Yes. So we don't have to worry about that. And now I just need to figure out what is the what should be the structure of the JSON. Okay, so we have here application. Here's your answer by default. Space safe, which means your translation from application space are top level and cannot write ever space. So, for example, okay, so this is also primarily for packages. Okay, and so we have here underscore locale. So in our JSON, we'll do locale, which is going to be here CS. So it should be CSCZ. And then we have this Vasco.heading. We'll do here like this. Jump to English. Let's do US. American. Let's start our server again, see if we have any issues. And let's see if it actually loads on the client now as it should. Okay, so we have here Vasco.heading. So it says not yet loaded, but it's there. That's a good first step. And we have here some missing loading in the English. Let's are we in the proper one? Let's see. We have that in info. That's strange. That should be fine. Okay, bit distracted. I need to focus. Okay. Let's look here at Vasco. Translate Vasco.heading. And let's look at our local provider. Do we need to do? I think the big question here is the locale. Have here the use locale. INTN get locale. A lot of and this will be a bit determinant on how it's getting the locales. So Okay, and so if I now just leave this as it's like this. Let's see if this will work. Oh. Let's try one more time again. So it's the local is en. Good. Makes sense. And now the big question is, why it's not loading? Probably also try that on the server. Okay, let's look at the server here. Actually, first of all, let's see, guys, if you have any questions before I proceed any further. Okay, looks good. Okay, synchronize server connection with local on client. Method invoked by client will be client-side locals. Yes, that makes sense. We don't have any namespace, so what happens if I don't have get translation? Oh, what's interesting. So okay, so I can actually even split the I can split the interesting. So actually, it might be an issue on my side that I did the. So I don't have. Probably the dots are a mistake. So I can do namespace here. Let's call it Vasco. Of course, it's JSON. So has to be like that. Then I will go here to the server and see if I can do import intn. That will be from Meteor universe intn. Nice. console.log intn dot, and now I do score dot heading. Or let's just do the welcome here as well. And that will be like a hello from the server. And not getting it there, so why? Why? Well, it's it shows that it's working. It's returning the key. So why are we not getting the? Why are we not getting the messages properly there? That's irking me. We have set and get local. The question is, what I really need to do here, intn dot set local. No. Which let's see, does it say something special? What am I missing? I knew it looked too much like magic for it to be. Okay. Let's go back. So we have the imports there. Set local, get local, blah, blah, blah. Add in translations by methods. That's not necessarily what we wanted. Dynamic imports. Oh, we have to have import and then set local. Apologies about time to get started. Okay, so the question is if I have to actually set the locale. This is frustrating. What am I missing? There's like so much promise, and I think what we kind of need to do, or prefer to do potentially maybe with Oh, this is the, right here. Just apologies for the tangent, but I have to really get into this a little bit. Here is the promise really of Meteor. So we have a file en.intn.json in the universe profile package, which has a local en and username. And just imagine we could do this for the different packages that have these things. For example, socialized packages, you could have all the text potential there translated, or I think this kind of goes back to the unified framework. So you could have translated, you could have UI, translation, everything. So it was much more easier to build together. So that's the potential that was there to do those things amazes me to this day that it did not come through, and that's a discussion for another day. But so common username, common, it should be what's missing there. I do wonder if I have to really do and go add translations manually. Let's try this get translations. Get translations. Namespace Vasco, let's double check. Yes, we've kept it like that. Let's see if we can get it at least on the server. See, yes, it doesn't have. I think even if we do this, so this is kind of then intn.local. And now we have them. Okay. So truly it needs the issue before is because it was not loaded. What if we don't set the locale here? Let's just see. So it will pick English. Okay. Or what if we do the Czech one? Okay, it took it very well. So that works. Now the question is that we have it initialized on the server. How do we? Okay, how do we get it? I think first of all, I'm going to make a quick change here. Who do we have? Okay, let's not do the change because first we need to get maybe it's use translator. Oh, okay. Let's see. What am I? What the heck am I missing? WebSocket connection. But let's try this again. It's the loading one which I'm missing, but other than that, no error. Okay, so is it in the following way? Oh, because I've forgotten local provider up there. Or did I? That should be a quick check for us. No, we have the local provider there. Ah, damn it. I was hoping for a quick victory too soon. Huh. Any thoughts? Let me just double check also that we have the because this is capital Vasco dot heading, so might have been just a typo. No. Translator. Maybe if it's the prefix. Let's no, but at least if using the prefix, then I can kind of get the what is it called? I can get the module there without any problem. Let's double check that it indeed is heading Vasco with capital V. And yeah, I'm using use translator. Let's see, let's put this to tests. Let's do console there, and then get not get translation, but get translations with the Vasco. Vasco namespace, and it's empty. Similarly, like we've seen on the server. So what is not, something is not loading. That's kind of how I see it. So somewhere here, console.log local. Now let's see on change locale. Now the set locale. Setting locale for connection. If connection ID is not provided, the system will try to detect current connection ID. This function sets locale in all places where connection can be detected, likely like Meteor methods. Also want to make sure. Yes, okay, so we get the locale by default. But where? Call from a client, it sets locale for connection on server side. It means that method invoked by client will set locale. You can turn off this synchronization by setting no. And the settings and everything, the defaults are exactly as we want it to be. Oh, here we go. Fetches translation file from remote server. This might be it, what we need. On change locale, just one more. Oops. Change locale. See if you can see. Okay, on change locale, dynamic imports. Let me quickly check if you guys have no comments, no help. Okay, using import with dynamic expression as explained in the question example. Localhost on server side, either import fast directly or use add translation. Look on the client call set locale, which will load the respective locale via get request. So we need to do the set locale, which we don't do. So that is the one thing that's then, or is it? Let's double check here. Let's do this then. Bit of a trial here to see if this might trigger it to download. Oops. Local params. So we load it on the server side. It's not an issue. On the client call set locale, which will load respective locale via get request. I am running out of ideas here. No, not on change, damn it. A bit confusing that the locale and set locale in the function there is what it is. Gets translation every time language is changed. Let's try this. Go async true. Let's copy intn, gets translation. Okay, probably last attempt unless I discover something new in the... Oh, there we go. There it has come. So it does indeed that. Let's try if we reduce functionality. Okay, it needs to have the then. That is... it's baffling. Maybe that's something specific for... No, and now it's gone. And then interesting. Kind of. This looks, but now let's see if I just remove this for a little bit. Yeah, because there's the hot module reload, I believe, and that's where it got. So so it's downloading, but it needs to kind of do a refresh from the ID to the language. So like a re-render. So that would be kind of next figuring out. You will get that in the React INTL because you need to actually, it needs to repopulate again. And let's actually, first of all, before I can do finishing thoughts, to also put limit because it's already over time, but let me start here my bath so that I can also get warmer as the temperatures are dropping, and I will kill my AC for the night. Worked out last night pretty good. We'll see if the setup I've changed tonight is going to be fine. First night I was pretty freezing because I didn't have a good covers, so it was fixed. So what's happening here is it's getting the... So it first, when it first renders and goes through it, it downloads the language file, but once it gets it, it does not trigger another re-render with the translation. So that's an issue that I will probably have to resolve, but it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, so my brain is not going to say make it today already. So that's for some future time. I do believe that we can easily probably make it like a continuation if we want to take a look look into it. As I've discussed before, I'm very much partial to the ICU message format. So if we want part 2, we can look on INT next with the ICU module. Given that it has so many functions and everything, I would be much more inclined to kind of adopting that approach, or adopting that package as the main thing, which is another thing. So as you can sort of guess, I'm still looking for kind of the best solution, but right now I'm stuck with React INTL. My kind of 2 goals with internationalization for Literary Universe are twofold. First, I want to get all of my language files into JSON, because that actually speeds things up, and especially if you have like this large JavaScript objects, it's going to, if you move to JSON, it's going to be much more easier than for JavaScript or it's faster to work with it, because it will know immediately, okay, what are the types and everything. While if you have a JavaScript object, it needs to go through all the determinations, which fall or go away if you're just getting a JSON. So that's one step. And with that, I also want to move to, as I start today, with the different modules, so that the language kind of going that into those modules is isolated, so that I only download or get language files for the modules that actually I need, or that the user gets, which still I would say is not, it's not like it takes that much, but it's a nice, I would say, optimization. And in some more distant lands, the further you get from the server, every little things to speeding up will count on this aspect. So that's one thing. Another thing is you can also have kind of DNS it, and not DNS. Yeah, my brain is shutting down, as you can guess. So you can have like third servers that will kind of hold your translation and download them. So many things that you can do with translations and all those things to optimize things. Now, yeah, so especially for people coming in after the live stream, please leave comments. Let me know what specific aspects of internationalization, localization you would like me to look in the future. And the future here, maybe January or February. And I will be happy to kind of prepare more on that, especially as I kind of work on my side on getting all of those things figured out and tested. So that's on that. Another big thing I also want to use this episode to bring up is I would really love to figure a way how to translate the Meteor documentation and guide into other languages. I think that will be essential to kind of expand beyond the English-speaking countries. Might say, all programmers should know English, and majority of the other documentations are English, so why bother? I think I think the success of Vue in large part is because the documentation was translated in other languages, starting with Chinese. In my case, I would like to help translate Meteor documentation into Japanese, not just for myself to kind of, or not just Japanese, but hopefully Korean as well, and potentially other countries that I operate in, so that I can use that to make it easier for people to kind of get in, especially for the people who are just starting up, to get it easier. And you would be surprised how many developers don't really know well English, especially here in far Asia, you could say, so Japan, Korea, and all those things. So it's still an issue. I think it's going to be issue going forward as well. So we should probably kind of go more against it than just go for translations. Can probably get away with certain things left in English, but that's to be kind of determined in the future. And that also comes how you decide, if you remember back to the presentation, how you decide how you will be translating, either by IDs or by, let's say, interpolation. So you get all the text and it will automatically put it in the language files, and the text itself is the ID. All right. I don't see any comments coming in, so I will be moving to close this up as my bat and for the wintry night is filling up. Next week, I will be looking up on routes and routing with Flow Router in Meteor, kind of looking back at it, because I am not that say satisfied with where React and React Router is heading. It's kind of more setting itself that you have to really have the full framework and everything. It needs to be just like only React focused, which is not going to work really for Meteor to draw out all the power of React. So I will be looking at Solid, though Solid has also kind of similar tendencies there to migrate in the future. And so I'll be looking at Flow Router. Also, in a relationship to Mantra, which I proposed or kind of re-proposed to kind of look at again a few weeks back, or a few episodes back to be more precise, maybe actually a month or two. And I think Flow Router could also play a good fit into the entire modules architecture and how to kind of more easily build applications with that. And after that, the last episode, broadcast of the year, will be kind of like a big summary looking back on this year and maybe start to look on making some predictions for the next year. I do hope also by then I will get some time to reflect. Of course, I also need to finish answering all your emails, and so that I have also much more better idea of where I want to be. Because I'm also, I'm considering making some big, serious changes in my life. could say part of it, because some new potential opportunities might have opened here in Japan, or maybe not. That will depend, maybe partially how this week goes. So a lot more to get into, and also it will be kind of fun episode, so it will be very much based on your input, what you want to look at. It won't be just technology Meteor. It will be all the other things that I do. And with that, again, I am Jan Dvorak, aka Storyteller CZ. If you like what I'm doing, please consider sponsoring me on GitHub via GitHub sponsors. All the funds goes to sponsoring my time on open sourcing these streams and other activities like Meteor dispatches every Friday with Alim Ghaffar and Jan Kuster on the Meteor community channel and everything else. So my bat is calling me that it's in a moment it will be 4 night to go. So I am going to enjoy that before I go to sleep. So have a good night, everybody, and I will see you next week with topic of routing in Meteor. Signing off from Japan.